Welcome back to CubeCon 2023. Justin Parnell, David McDarby here in Madison, Wisconsin, with all of the cubes in the world. Okay, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them.
A lot of them.
A lot of them.
50 of them. Well, more than that.
More than that. More than 50.
Well, there's 50 in the main event with 400 people. And there's tons of other cubes happening all around the convention.
That's right. But there's one in the feature match area, and that's the creative cube. Last round, we saw Dom Harvey take his essentially white-green deck after drafting 5 colors and really put the screws to Brandon, his opponent. Dom looking for a continuation of his perfect record on the weekend. He's currently 6-0, 7-0.
I was going to say, he just won.
Yeah, 7-0. I talked to Dom. In between, and Dom did confirm exactly what we were thinking as we watched the draft, and that is, I was planning on having a lot of these
crazy
lands to be able to, maybe if I found something in the draft, I'd be able to splash whatever I wanted. And that was his plan. But ultimately, as he was building his deck, he said, you know what?
Well, green one was pretty open.
Take it back to basics.
Yep. Like he had the Huntsman's Redemption, which lets him find any creature in his deck. So he has set himself open to find any creature he could ever find. But the green and white cards kept coming, and in Selesnya Solidarity, he took down Brandon in the last round and is looking to keep doing that to his future opponents in rounds 2 and 3.
Yeah, Dom is definitely laser focused on this trophy. Cube is very important to him.
Well,
he loves it.
He loves it. He just top forward Pro Tour Lord of the Rings in Barcelona.
So he is looking to add an accomplishment that is more impressive,
way more impressive
than the Pro Tour top 4.
CubeCon.
As we all know.
That's CubeCon. There's been a lot of Pro Tours. There's only been 2 CubeCons.
Right.
So that's just way rare trophy to have.
All right, there's only one, and that's Caleb Durward, who is out here somewhere in the midst of 400 cubers on the weekend, and he definitely knows that he has a tough task ahead of him to maintain his trophy.
He's got a target on his back, and Dom is laser focused, so not so great for Caleb, but right now
Dom's more laser focused, honestly, because after yesterday, Dom narrowly losing the Wisconsin versus England grudge match.
Yep. Well,
Caleb won.
There was no trophy for that. And he didn't get any cheese. Reed Duke had the cheese from yesterday.
He did.
The cheese stood alone, and it was Reed Duke.
It was Reed. Off to a good start. This is our 3rd draft of the day, David. So we've had 2 more. Yeah, we know, because it's getting pretty late here. But you know what? We're going to bring you all of the action.
Never stops.
As it continues, and we're ready to continue right now as we're going to go see Dom Harvey against Ian Braverman. Also, Ian was a OG CubeCon attendee from last year as he starts off with a Watery Grave going down to 18 and deploying a Thoughtseize going to 16.
Yep, so this wasn't a Fetch Land Shock Thoughtseize 15, but we do have Shock Land Thoughtseize to 16. So hopefully Dom isn't playing too aggressive this round. But Ian is on blue-black control, so all your usual culprits, and it looks like Ian took a green card from Dom. So I'm sure Dom is very sad that green card is no longer in his hand.
But it's not, and we're going to forget about it for the time being as we see Dom come with a Wooded Foothills, probably going to pick up an Overgrown Tomb, if I were to guess, or a Temple card. Probably, maybe a Temple card.
So Dom is playing a straight green-white deck, but there is a Chatterfang. So Dom maybe is looking for that swamp so he can activate that activation, but he will go with the Temple Garden tapped. Dom did have the option to cast Mend the Wilds to bring back one of those cards in his graveyard to the top. Yep, I think Ian is pointing that out.
Ian's like, you could have done this.
You could have done this. Why? Or maybe Dom is doing that, and he took 2. We'll find out. No. So Ian is just letting him know that, you could cast your spell.
The Wilds will remain unmended for now.
I mean, the Wilds escaped, and then they're trying to get mended, but Dom's like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to play on turn 2 another card.
The Wilds have been through a lot, man.
I mean, that's wild.
It's wild, man.
That's wild. So Dom does have the option for a Hangerback Walker for 1, but instead he'll play the card he drew, which is Devoted Druid.
Right.
So this card is an 0-2, but lets Dom hit to 5 mana on turn 3. However, Dom has another card that lets him enchant his own Devoted Druid.
Swift Reconfiguration, which he won't get the chance to, as Murderous Rider is going to go on an adventure. And he says Swift End or Swift Reconfiguration. How about Swift End instead?
We're doing Swift Tripal here at CubeCon. We're doing everything Swift. And I'm sure the players doing things swiftly, all of us folks back in production are very happy for that.
Yeah, swifter, please.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be sad about it. Dom really I think he had plans for that Devoted Druid after taking that. He's really taking inventory of what he's got before he goes to his draw step, picking up something, but playing that Plains out. He's going to, again, Wow, right off the top, 2 turns in a row playing Devoted Druid
know?
into Wedding Announcement. Going to add a counter to it and a 1/1 human onto the battlefield.
Yep. So, the old saying goes, you can't thought seize the top of the deck. And Ian knows that well. Dom knows it well. And that's just somehow how the tough cookie crumbles.
Yeah, and it's being tough for Ian. Ian taking a look and saying, I felt pretty good about that. Okay, so we're going to see this is an engineered explosives for 0. Planning to take out those Wedding Announcement tokens at a future turn, probably after the 3rd one has popped off when it gets to 3 counters.
Sure, not only that, but Engineered Explosive is some insurance against that hangerback walker that's hanging around Dom's hand.
This is an aggressive play right here.
Well, so Dom has a couple creatures in hand, a lot of removal, 2 different removal spells, and it looks like Ian isn't so much on the creature plan as it is the removal plan. Right. So Dom's like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those explosives so they have to perhaps be popped right then, take rid of that 1 human so I can deploy other threats to the board unfettered.
And we're going to see an Aether Channeler. It's very charming.
Well,
often will make a bird, but this time it drew a card, but it also can return a creature to its owner's hand. And it looks like we have a Troll of Khazad-dûm.
Khazad-dûm.
I was so close.
There's the Axamar, the diacritic, right above that U.
Well, egg on my face. Looks like we have getting a swamp that is also going to be an island and a plains. Appropriate.
Sure. Yeah, Rafine's Tower, spying above all of New Capenna. Rafine, heck of a card herself, too. The 1/4. Watch out.
Not present in this cube,
Not present
though.
in this cube.
Only the tower will have to survive.
Only the tower. That's usually, Rafine is just known for her tower, really, in most environments.
Right.
That's how it goes. So, meanwhile, Dom has drawn 2 cards that Ian hasn't seen, but if the past is any explanation, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
And the Aether Channeler will trade with the white creature that usually makes
Skyclave Apparition.
Yeah, usually makes an illusion token.
Well, it did. It actually did make an illusion token. It was so quick you didn't see it because it was a 0/0 and died to state base effects immediately.
Yep. Story time. Skyclave Aspirin is a fun card because it was made late in development. So the only reason why it makes a blue illusion token is because we had to choose a token from among the tokens
that you already had in the set.
So we had Inscription of Abundance, Inscription of Insight, the blue sorcery. It makes illusion tokens. So we had to make a card, reverse engineer to make that token.
And you didn't have any Thopter tokens in Battle for Zendikar.
No. So anyway, Hangerback Walker.
Zendikar Rising.
Hangerback Walker has arrived with the 2 counters, and also the wedding festivities have begun. So all these creatures are a little bigger, but Ian answers with Imrith. Imrith, the Doom of Blue, the Desert Doom.
And was Imrith invited to the wedding?
Well, when you're a dragon, you don't really need invitations to go anywhere.
You can crash it no matter what.
You can crash any party you want, baby.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, Dom does have a Path to Exile, and then Imrith has Ward 4.
I got bad news.
Ward 4.
Dom doesn't have enough. And Dom is going to purposely split a sleeve to buy some time.
Yeah,
What a wily son of a gun.
Lets him think about. That's why he's 7-0. It's a splitting sleeves left and right.
Okay, so Dom not able to deploy this Path to Exile to get rid of Imrith because that Ward 4, as long as it's untapped, which it is right now, is going to prevent it being targeted until Dom gets to at least 5 to maybe Path to Exile it to clear it out of its way. Because he really wants to do that as he has a Anthem in the form of Wedding Announcement on the back, which is Wedding Celebration.
Festivities.
Come on, man.
I'm coming on. So anyway, Dom will deploy a Chatterfang. Unfortunately, Ian has every basic land type in play except 4. So even somehow playing around this Chatterfang and is blocking the Hangerback Walker.
That's going to make 2/2/2 Thopters.
2/2/2 Thopters.
Yeah, Ian's going to say, does that have Forest Vault? Cool, I don't care.
Cool, that's fine. I would not play
no problem.
my Ketria Trion that's probably hanging out in this blue-black control deck.
So we have 2/2/2 Thopters and 2/2/2 Squirrels thanks to Chatterfang.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
So there's a lot of threats coming out. Ian knows of the Path to Exile hanging out in Dom's hands, so he's probably not going to be swinging for the fences here. Ian will be looking for some way to get rid of all these 2/2 creature tokens. But, how many sweepers can there be in this blue-black control deck when Engineered Explosive has already exploded out in the graveyard? So instead, we have a Hidatsugu and Kairi coming down. This is a good card.
It is a good card. It's going to let Ian essentially cast Brainstorm, which is draw 3 cards, put 2 back from your hand on the top of your library. And then when Hidatsugu and Kairi dies, it's going to let you cast the top card of your library.
With paying the mana cost?
Not with paying the mana cost, and your opponent has to pay with their life.
Whoa, I love that kind of pay. So anyway, Path to Exile is like, you know what? You may have a dice trigger, but I've got an exile effect, but you can have a land. That's fine. Oh, not a forest. Dang.
Now, did
Almost.
Dom do this before or after the trigger?
It looks like Dom did this before the trigger.
There we go. Don't let Ian get that free brainstorm plus a shuffle. No. You're going to have to put those back on top and draw them later.
Yep, so right now it looks like Ian is Hidatsugu and Kairi locked, so those cards are going to remain on the top of the library unless Ian can do some manipulation to get them around. Which is a heads-up play by Dom.
That very much so. Very much so.
You know, Hidatsugu and Kairi locked. That's just a common thing that Magic players say.
Now, could Ian now go to the skies, and is it worth it? I mean, he certainly could.
That's not happening.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of little ground buddies. We have 10 power in only tokens here. That's going to be tough.
Right, you are. But Ian did deploy with his remaining mana Jace Vryn's Prodigy, the little merfolk looter that could, to try to look for some other ways to get rid of Dom's flying and squirrel army.
Yeah.
Flying squirrel army.
And I imagine that's not the last amount of squirrels we're going to see. And I believe we're in the upkeep of Dom, going to put Skyclave Apparition on top of his deck so he can draw it, cast it immediately. Obviously, that's what's going to come down here. Dom going to take a look, and then we're going to say, Jace Vryn's Prodigy, how about no? That's going to go under Skyclave Apparition and potentially turn into a 2/2 illusion at some point. But if Dom has his way, he'll never get the chance.
That's true. Well, I mean, Jace turning into an illusion is very fitting for the character. I did cosplay as Jace for quite a while, that Jace instead. But so I'm sad at that. I am excited to see all these tokens crash in to Ian's board. And Ian's like, you know what? I'll go ahead and stop one. But it looks like I'm taking 8 damage and go from 14 to 6.
That is a significant amount of damage.
That's as they say, that's a lot of damage.
That is a lot of damage, and 6 is not good when Dom is going 6 wide, and only 3 of those creatures need to connect to end the game in Dom's favor. But you know, Ian's working with a lot of mana, 8 mana, several cards in hand, 2 cards. One of them is a Tyrant's Scorn, and I believe a Commit to Memory.
Oh, so the Commit to Memory is great for getting rid of one of those tokens, but like it cannot deal with quite all of them. So we have its Tyrant Scorn coming down here, which, you know, does get rid of one creature. It'll be that creature. So now Ian will have another creature token, essentially 2-for-1ing with this removal spell. So that's helping. And it looks like he will barely be alive here for drop block. No, it looks like Ian is still dead on board unless he has another trick up his sleeve. So another trick that may be up Ian's sleeve, I believe that Murderous Rider from a long time ago from turn 3 is still hanging out on Adventure. So it's kind of, you know, going pretty far, doing its old Murderous Rider things, but we'll see if that commit is going to come down and maybe pick up that wedding festivities, maybe a Thopter. I don't know. We'll see what Ian has up his sleeve.
Yeah, I think that no matter what, because Ian's working with 8 mana instead of 9, it might not be the time to play the Murderous Rider, but maybe a different time.
And so Dom Harvey does the whole, well, I'm just going to tackle all my creatures, the common like hand motion, and just send in with everything. Ian will be casting Commit on the wedding festivities. So while Dom will be able to rebuy some more tokens, second from the top, bud, Ian will be surviving just by the skin of his teeth, remaining at 3 life. Take 3, go to 3, halfway down.
There's and this is not a big deal, but Chatterfang does need to sacrifice squirrels to use its ability. So leaving the squirrels around rather than the humans is a tiny option you could have chosen to maybe avoid Chatterfang potentially coming back and making your life a little bit more difficult. Either way, Ian is at 3, and Dom he's got a Lion Sash. I don't know if he's going to be struggling to put a meaningful threat on the battlefield, but we're going to find out. Is he's going to cast something for 3, which is the unknown card in his hand along with Ignoble Hierarch. Nope. It's going to be his adventure card, a new Wilds of Eldraine card that has a green adventure that we're struggling to get. We're trying to find it, folks.
Oh, you want to find the card? Oh, the Woodland Acolyte?
Well, yeah, the Woodland Acolyte.
I just started looking for it as soon as I said the name.
Yes, you're so intelligent and very quick, David. I appreciate that.
You'll love to hear. So Dom is like, you know what? We've got Ian to 3. Thank you. Thank you, Nolan's got us. Dorman's got us. So, all right. Dom does need to deploy some threats. Ian's like, you know what? I still have some removal spells in the form of Baleful Mastery for 2 mana.
He said,
2 mana.
You want to draw a card? Why don't you draw another card?
This is in. Okay. Ian's like, you know what? This Imrith does not have Defender. It can attack.
It's time to go.
It's time to go. And if Ian doesn't have any cards in his hand, he will draw the full 3 cards from Imrith.
Wow.
Oh, that's very exciting.
I didn't think Ancestral Recall was in this queue, but Ian proved us wrong.
Ian, Demir may just find a way.
Now, that looks like a Warhammer 40K card.
Does it?
Yes. I don't know what it is, but I think that it looks like that.
Well, okay.
I'm not exactly sure, but it looks like, oh, so it killed all of, so it was Toxic Deluge.
For 1.
From Lord.
For 1.
For 1. Which destroyed all of the creatures, Ian going to 2. But then, of course, Dom saying, well, I'm going to clean up your board, too, with a Sunfall, taking out the remaining creatures and turning it into a 2/2 incubator.
You know, the green-white creature deck oftentimes wants Wrath of Gods in their deck. We all have been there. But, you know, Dom has to play. A lot of his threats are actually not creatures. Wandering Emperor, Wedding Festivities, Lion Sash reconfigured onto a creature.
Right.
There's lots of ways Dom can just play that Wrath that the opponents will never expect and still come out ahead with all his weird divergent threats.
Ian is
Memory?
using his emergency button of casting memory from his graveyard Aftermath, shuffling his deck and Dom's deck into each of their graveyards into their decks, and then drawing 7 each.
So Ian is like, you know what? I'm going to draw 3 cards with Imrith. I'm going to make you draw a card with Baleful Mastery. I'm going to make us both draw 7 cards with Memory. Ian's like, I just love drawing cards, man. I'll draw some cards. You draw some cards. That's all good. Ian has more confidence in this stage of the game of his threats and removal spells than he believes Dom has in his green-white creature deck. But he's like, you know what? I'm happy with this trade, even though I have 4 mana untapped, and you're going to untap with 5 mana.
Right, but Dom does have an incubator token that could come alive and knock Ian down to 0, which is a dangerous proposition. Ian is really banking on his deck to deliver like 2 spells he can cast this turn.
Well, it looks like Ian drew a Swift End. Looks like Ian drew a few cards. Supreme Will doesn't help against that incubator, but we're going to see. And now Dom really has the question of, do you transform this incubator token into a Phyrexian, or do you deploy your board more with your 5 mana instead of just your 3?
I would go for the kill, because Ian's just going to have more mana next turn. He's already got 7 cards in his hand. Like, I would take the option.
Try to spike that win?
Yeah, I would.
Go for broke, Brave or Grave?
Right. Well, Dom probably drew a land. He's got 8 new cards, so that's going to leave him with 4 mana after he activates it.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But again, Dom's down there, we're up here, and we're going to see what Dom decides to do. And that's going to be cast for white, white, green. Was that looked like a Blade Splicer to me?
Nope. White. Yes.
Was a Blade Splicer, though.
Adamant, with Adamant.
Ah, Remand.
And
now we're going to see if that go back to his hand.
Did Ian draw the interaction spell with that Remand? Maybe a Baleful Mastery?
I mean, down to 2.
That'd be sick.
The options are much lower. Yeah, Dom's going to say.
But clearly,
Dom's going to say, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to try to end the game yet. I believe you've got it, so I will deploy another threat.
Ooh, all right. Well, Dom agreed with me. And so Ian did have a removal spell in the form of Petty Theft. Doodle-ding. You ever played on Arena?
I have so many times.
Doodle-ding.
Yeah. Don't worry, we haven't hit an escape card yet, but I'll give you that sound effect too.
Okay, thank you. I can't wait for it. So
Right.
Ian is basically in the driver's seat. Here we have a Teferi Temporal Pilgrim. This is a 5-mana planeswalker that oftentimes you just make another Teferi in the form of the Spirit Creature token, which Ian is demonstrating here. And now, when Ian does what he loves best, drawing cards, he'll be able to take up not only the loyalty on this awesome 5-mana blue planeswalker, but also on the Spirit Creature token it created.
And this is a very uncommon thing, a mono blue Vigilance token creator.
Well, sure. Vigilance is the newest keyword to Blue's suite of tokens, Blue's suite of keywords. Turns out Blue's keywords were Flying, Ward, Hexproof, and Unblockable.
What about Flash?
Well, sure, Flash. That's kind of more evergreen. But Blue needed some more cool things to do, and Blue's pretty vigilant. Blue likes looking at places, looking at you, looking at me, looking around. So they're quite vigilant nowadays.
I mean, we'll agree to disagree. You could be right, but, emotionally.
Well, someone's feelings are never wrong. So if that's the card you want to play, you got to play.
I do want to play Teferi because it is one of, if not the most powerful blue planeswalker you can play in mini cubes.
Teferi's the card I want to play.
Yeah, I want to play it too. And Dom looks like he's going to deploy an Ignoble Hierarch to either force Ian to trade the Hangerback Walker with its 2/2 Spirit, but if Ian can draw a card, it's going to turn into a 3/3. And then it might actually become a problem for Dom because it's got Vigilance. As noted, as we started this whole conversation going, it's got Vigilance.
I mean, Teferi has been around a lot. He's been very vigilant in forsaking his spark to save all others.
Well,
that's the back of the book.
I know. Well, trust me,
Future sight.
The back of the book, well, I've listened to his arena voice lines too, and he's not shy about it.
Sorry, I'm late.
Yeah.
Let's slow things down.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, he's been here in the feature match area all day.
Yeah. So here we're seeing Dom really need to find some way to break through all these blue-black defenses. So we're really seeing kind of the downfall of the green-white creature deck. Ian, he's got his opponent at 2. Ian's at 2, minus 2 life total points. So, but there's no real reach or burn that green and white can do. The closest approximation is maybe flash, like some sort of flash creature. Dom isn't really doing that. So now Dom's like, well, I just got to keep presenting threats and hopefully eke out a way to get through your defenses. But like Dom, hasn't lost yet. So if anybody can do it, I believe Dom could.
Right, and he is going to pay this 3 mana for the counter to avoid Noble Hierarch being countered. And is going to block with the 2/2 token. That is actually pretty big for Dom because Ian could not draw a card. If Ian could draw a card, that attack would have been rough. And then we see a Canker Bloom.
It does the job.
It does the job. It's 3 power. That is the magic number as it currently stands.
Yep. Ian also has the Murderous Rider back in his hand, and so he can't cast Swift in right now. Don't do that, Ian. Please don't.
Cast a 2/3 with lifelink.
But you can cast a 2/3 with lifelink for 3.
That's sounded pretty good to me if I were Ian right now.
That ain't bad.
That ain't bad at all.
So looks like the Teferi ticked up, drew a card, and now Ian is surveying his options. Toxic Deluge is back. I'm going to guess it's for 1 if I was a betting man. Looks like, yep, Ian wishes to continue playing the game and only choose 1 for the life loss.
I very much appreciate Ian using his life total as a resource.
That's
so much.
I mean, you start with 20,
yeah.
as we all know.
Two back-to-back Toxic Deluges for 1. And Ian did not draw a card. He simply drew a card
for his turn. I did say
added,
that.
Yeah.
It's like Ian drew a card.
It's true. It's
Every
true.
turn.
Every turn you get 1 for free. And now we're making a token. Now we're deploying Murderous Rider, not Swift in.
Not Swift in.
And Ian is going to embark on the long journey of surviving from 1 and trying to turn this game around. Now, I do see a Path to Exile lurking in Dom's hand, which could be critical to pushing through this last single point of damage, as I don't think he selected Hornet Sting in the cube since it's not in there.
Or Gut Shot. So, your opponent's at 1, and they have a lifelink creature. That's not what you want to see. So Dom will have to fire off this Path to Exile at some point, or maybe some sacrifice and sack shenanigans or some stuff like that.
I know what, we know what Ian drew for the turn. It was Opt.
Yep.
Because he would have definitely cast that last turn to give his token, his token and his Teferi a +1/+1 counter, which actually would have changed the dynamic of the game quite a bit, to be honest.
Quite a bit. So, some players in this position, if you were in Dom's seat, you could maybe break from the mental stress of, I got my opponent to 1. Oh, how do I finish it out? But that's not what champions do. So, you just keep playing, play your outs, play the best matches you can. And that Chatterfang was going to be a 3/3 for 3. A Hill Giant, if you will, for 3 mana. But Ian Braverman had a counterspell in the form of Counterspell.
And now we see a Blade Splicer, which is a 3/3 for 3 with a bonus 1/1. How nice. And it's got First Strike.
For now.
Now, that might not be so hot in the face of a 4/4 Vigilant token. And if I were a betting man,
are you?
You know what? Right now I'm going to bet that Ian is going to make another token with his Planeswalker.
Yeah, the tokens are not legendary, so Ian does have the Baleful Mastery yet again. He remembered it was in his deck from the memory and has cast it yet again on that Phyrexian Golem token.
He's casting it as the master, not the student, for the full 4 mana.
Correct. He's like, you know what? I love drawing cards, but Dom, don't draw a card this turn. I'll play the full Monty. And here comes a 4/4 Spirit. To cook it bigger, no one knows. And Murderous Rider for 2. Dom's like, you know what? I'll take 6, go to 6. Ian is up to 3.
That's 2 more Toxic Deluges for Ian.
I'm sure he's just so pleasantly happy. So, here comes another Teferi Spirit. Teferi can be in so many places and so many times all at once. And we're going to pass it back to Dom.
I think Dom confidently on the back foot.
Yeah, but we're going to check, confirm life totals. make sure we're all in agreement of the reality we are all participating in,
Right.
and consider his options. Oh, Sunfall. Sunfall has came back. So is there some way that Dom could like get the threat off? But no, he's going to. You know what? Firing off
let's
Sunfall.
figure it out later. Let's figure it out later. Let me get a 5/5, please, and we'll get rid of all of these tokens.
Let me get that.
Let me get that. And they're exiled, by the way. So that life link that you got, getting you up to 3, which I believe is your life total.
Yep.
That's no more. No more life link, please.
So here we have Gilded Goose versus Brazen Borrowers, a classic Throne of Eldraine matchup.
One of the most classic ever.
You know, you're gonna be a flying creature. Do you want to add mana, gain life, or be really strong?
Well, I mean, to be fair, those were exactly the 2 options in Throne of Eldraine.
That's true.
So now, Dom, notably, that food, maybe 10 minutes ago, we would not have said, oh, food token, that's going to make mana. Dom, might need that extra 3 life. That represents another attack from Brazen Borrower, which could be relevant. And we have Rowan's Grim Search.
Yep, so this is a new card in the newest set,
Wilds of Eldraine.
Yep, so this lets you, look at some cards. Did Ian bargain for this Grim Search? Did he come to bargain? Looks like, nope, just draw 2 cards. I believe they were 2 lands.
Yeah,
so
Dormammu was not here.
Dormammu was vacant for some reason, but that Teferi did not get large because you don't actually you do draw them. So Teferi got bigger. Takenuma has appeared.
And it does cost the full 4, as Ian doesn't have any legendary creatures, so no cost reduction on Takenuma. But Ian is going to mill 3 and then pick up a Planeswalker or creature from his graveyard. And we're going to see hit some strong ones. Hit an Inquisition of Kozilek, a Tyrant Scorn, and a Dig Through Time.
Oh, my.
Before he picks up what? What did he pick
Of creature-wise?
I'm not sure. Does he have any creatures in his graveyard?
We'll
Are they
find
all
out.
exiled?
They've been pretty exiled.
They've been very exiled. And we're now at 3. And, I think that Ian might be at 3 rather than 1. I also think there's a chance that it might not matter. But
so Path to Exile.
Path to Exile.
On that spirit. All right.
Go get a land.
Incubate.
If this comes across for 5, 3
Incubate.
life isn't going to do it. And
oh my God.
Dom picks up the win after a heartbreaker for Ian. Thought he was going to draw back, and ooh-wee.
So
that was a very close one.
I know so many other mages, other magicians. If you were in Dom's seat, I got my opponent to 1, and then memory and all this stuff, and I just couldn't get there. Dom was like, no, I am a consummate Magic the Gathering professional player.
Right.
Kept it together, made sure everything was tight, played well, and was able to defeat his blue-black opponent somehow after a million turns and take the win.
Ian cast like 500 cards too.
Like 700 removal spells.
Yeah.
Sometimes more than once of the same card.
Most of them times.
Yeah.
And Dom's like, you know what? Creatures, I don't need them. What about incubator tokens? That's good enough for me.
Yeah. So Dom is playing green-white creatures. What a basic strategy. But Dom has so much play to his deck. And he's even playing Sunfall, the Wrath of God, in his creature deck against a blue-black control opponent with like 3 creatures in his deck.
And it actually secured the win for him.
So it not only cleared out the opposition, but had a creature that's hard to interact with and then come through for the victory. That's Sunfall.
Yeah, there
right
it is.
Here.
There it is. Boom.
Well, there it is. The sun
I'm
fell.
not very good at this.
Yeah, it's you need a lot of.
It's right. It's right here. Right there.
Yeah, you need a lot of ways to move your body.
No, you don't have to worry about that if you want to play on Magic the Gathering Online, because it'll do it for you. Did you know that?
I did know that, in fact.
Tell me a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so Magic Online is your digital home for Commander, Cube, Modern, and more. We've got Pioneer. They've got Legacy, Vintage, Commander, Modern, also Commander. We've got Standard and
What about
Limited
Cube?
too. Cube?
Yeah.
We've got Cube. Have you heard of the Vintage Cube?
I have. Is that there?
It's there.
Oh, my goodness.
You can sign up right now for a free account. It's completely free to sign up and get started on there.
I'm doing it right now.
You do it on your phone?
Can I?
You can. You can sign up for an account.
I'm doing it.
Another one?
How
many accounts do you want?
As you've identified, I haven't loaded my Magic Online account for many years. I think it might be time now.
Well, I load mine up all the time. So Magic Online is your place for power. Pick it up, play some Super Jump. Super Jump is awesome, and we'll be talking more about Magic Line shortly. But we're going to go right back down to the games to finish Dom versus Ian for game 2 of this match.
Yeah, this could go long.
Yeah. So Magic Online, because they're still shuffling, we want to talk about Magic Online. You can also play Super Jump League. You pick 2 half decks, shuffle up and play. It's kind of like Jump In or Jump Start.
Jump Start, yeah.
But with Cube. It's Cube.
That's better.
I mean, we're
That's
a CubeCon.
possible.
We're a CubeCon. We're not a Jump and Start Con. So all Commander players, you can also play Magic Online. You can bling out your decks, play pre-constructed, anything between. Also, if you're aiming for the Pro Tour, like Dom was just on Lord of the Rings Pro Tour, you can qualify for the regional championship in any of 7 different formats and compete with the best in the champion showcase. Visit midgo.com for more details. mtgo.com.
And to start off, we see nothing deployed on the first 2 turns for Ian, but then Dom tries to put down a Cankerbloom, and Ian says, nah, let's worry about that later. I'm going to remand that back to your hand. Dom says, nothing I can do about that. Pick that Cankerbloom back up, and we might try to deploy it this turn again
and
as a 3-1 beater.
You know the unique thing about Cankerbloom and Remand?
They're
on Magic Online.
Okay.
They're right there. You can play with them.
Both of them.
And Cankerbloom was like, you know what, Remand? Not enough. I'm coming back, baby. I'm coming back, Remand.
Yeah.
There it is.
Coming in strong.
You can't stop that. Look at that.
It's a fungus.
It's a real fun guy to have.
It keeps growing on you.
Well, I mean, I thought I had you, but you in a reverse card to me.
Yeah.
So Dom does have a Mistress Factory. So, Ian Braverman did lose for these weird non-creature creatures, and Dom does connect for 3.
He does. That's actually that's a gut check. It's like, hey, are you going to remove this first threat? Ian's like, not yet.
So here we have a Charming Prince. It's a charm, but it's kind of like the white Charming Scoundrel, some say.
Never has anyone said that. But it is going to scry 2, both on the bottom, and then we're going to see a Lion Sash come down as a creature this time, but it could reconfigure. Ooh.
Oh, this is one of your favorite cards, Justin.
love Venser Shaper Savant.
Yes.
Love it so much. So this can return a spell to your hand, it can turn a permanent to your hand, and it also can attack for 2 unexpectedly because it's got Flash. Wow, that is a big engineered explosives for 2. They're going to take care of Dom's entire board of Cankerbloom plus Lion Sash. And now we got one of your favorite cards of all time, or at least of that was cast this turn.
Well, I did play with this card in this cube before this match, Boromir Gondor's Hope. So this is a new card from Lord of the Rings, Commander. And whenever Boromir enters the battlefield or attacks, you look for a human or artifact in your top 6. And it looks like Dom, there we are, has found the Border Tracker.
Briarbridge Tracker.
Briarbridge Tracker. Honestly, probably would be good friends with Boromir, defending Gondor from the forces of Mordor.
We'll never know because it's in the graveyard from an Inquisition of Kozilek from Ian. He's like, that's pretty good.
The tracker will remain, but
the tracker will remain.
Swift reconfiguration is gone.
Okay.
Ian's like, I think you have a
I might remember that Devoted Druid.
Yeah.
From 45 minutes ago at the beginning of Game 1.
Yep. So Ian has a Venser, but Dom has Boromir, brother to Faramir, son of Denethor, the Steward of Gondor, and Ian's like, yo, I got a dragon.
That's pretty good. Now, we know that Dom has a Sunfall, definitely didn't side it out because he's got to deal with Ian's very difficult to get rid of threats. If he's got that Sunfall, we could see an attack with Boromir, uncaring of what happens. But instead, we're just going to see the Briarbridge Tracker, which is going to be a 4/3 as long as there's a token on the battlefield, and there is, because it investigates immediately.
So the tracker really came just knowing what it was looking for just off the bat.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even looking for a clue. It just has one.
I got a hot take for you.
Like, I mean, also, look that she's got, like, a weird, cool, like, Kopesh, like, one-handed sword and a hand crossbow. That's sick.
Yeah.
But Ian's like, I got a bird, a Strix. Latin for bird, by the way.
And Ian's like, you have a Boromir in the second down from the top of your deck.
Yeah. So it wasn't quite an arrow through Boromir, but it was a commit. But he'll be back. Don't worry.
Maybe.
I mean, memory
we
might
thought
come
that we thought that last time, and Ian was like, let's shuffle them up, baby.
Yep.
Let's draw 7.
So Ian crashed in with Imrith, the Desert Doom, and it sounds like it might be spelling doom for Dom, but the Wandering Emperor's like, you know what? You're done, son.
You want some cube staples? You got a Baleful Strix, you got a Venser. How about the new cube staple, Wandering Emperor?
Brand
one of the
new.
most powerful white cards in all of Cube Land.
Well, hot off the printing presses of Neo Kamigawa from 2.5 years ago.
It's still in Standard.
Well, he's Standard's 3 years.
Well, that's
it's always been that way. What are you talking about?
Right. Dom going to go.
Rowan's Grim Search.
Okay.
So grimly looking, is Ian bargaining? Perhaps, nope. Ian is not bargaining that Strix, and he's like, I'll just happy for a divination where I lose 2 life. And that Strix was not bargain because, you know what the bargain is? Finishing off this Emperor.
That's a much better bargain, to be honest.
Well, you know, it's in bargains in the beauty of the eye of the beholder.
That's the exact phrase.
That's what they say. So Dom does have a Steel Seraph split between the worlds of 3 and 6 mana, figuring out what to do with his life. Crashes in for 4 damage. Vincer is not, Vincer's like, know what? I want to live.
Yeah, not quite yet.
I want to live, so
I'm
I can
not ready.
later be a Phyrexian.
You were right. Boromir is back, and if it resolves, Dom's going to go looking in the top 6, but Ian's going to say not quite. And Ian not letting Dom get under him and get his life total low this time.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if Baleful Strix came into the red zone again. I think it's going to hang back and potentially block that Briarbridge tracker. Thoughtseize is going to put Ian himself down to 9 under that safety valve of double-digit life total, but take out Steel Seraph to make sure that if Dom peels a land, the best he can do is a 3/3 Hangerback Walker, which is, to be honest, not bad.
Yep. So right now, Dom is kind of running out of things to do. He can cast that Hangerback Walker but it looks like he's going to cast the card he drew for the turn, which was Chatterfang. Still, sadly, no forest, but Ian's like, you know what? I still just don't want you to have a 3/3 for 3. So counterspell. Counter.
And Dom probably going to cash in this clue at the end of Ian's turn. So we all know what's in Dom's hand, which is in that Hangerback Walker. And now we're going to see Aether Channeler probably going to draw a card for Ian as it does.
I can make a bird.
Ian's going to go up to potentially 10 mana if we have a land drop. But we have, instead of playing that land, we have a Daitsugu and Kairi. Going to cast a little brainstorm action when it enters the battlefield. Draw 3, put back 2. And I see 3 lands in Ian's hand and 1 magic spell, but I'm not exactly sure what that is.
I believe it's a Murderous Rider.
Or a Swift End.
I mean, that's the adventure part. It's a choose-your-own adventure.
It is a choose-your-own adventure, and it's quite a good one. Not quite able to get Ian there last match, but Dom presenting a lot less pressure this time. Although we do know the card that got Dom out of this exact type of situation last time.
Sunfall. I
No.
was hoping he was going to cast it.
I really wish
Overpaying by 1 mana. Take a mana burn on 1.
Yeah, just to make us in the booth look good. But yeah, so
we need the help.
Sunfall is something that Ian's got to be careful of because it's, Ian is not in a position where he can counter many or any spells, but he also is putting Dom to 5.
And that's exactly Hitotsugu and Kairi's power together. Kairi is 6, Hitotsugu's 4.
Yeah.
You balance them out, you get 5.
Yeah, they're holding it like this.
They're holding it tight. They go way back.
Yeah, they're quite a good team, and they're going to be a really good team for Ian. But Dom says, this is a flyer, believe it or not. It does matter, and it's probably going to pick up a block here on Hidetsugu and Kairi.
Dom says, I'm going to go ahead and attack for 4 with this food counter. Thanks, Goose. And Ian's like, I'm happy trading because Ian really just want to connect with his Hitotsugu and Kairi once to finish the game.
Oh, that is a Hero of Blade hold.
Whoa. Swift end.
Oh, that was... So Ian could have Swift ended the Gilded Goose to come across for 5 and end the game.
But that Hero... I have been deathly afraid of Hero Blade hold. I see that card and I was like, please stop. No. I just end it. So Murderous Rider will make an appearance. Hitotsugu and Kairi will have Goose for dinner and then put Dom on needing 1 more card to stave off this Demon Spirit attack.
And Dom is going to tap his Hangerback Walker, put a +1/+1 counter at the end of Ian's turn. And still, despite the small misstep from Ian, Dom is looking at all of his options as he knows the game is ending very, very soon.
Yep, so this tells me Dom drew Woodland Acolyte, looking to see if he can, the exact card back on top and draw it and have 1 mana remaining. Well, we'll draw a Wandering Emperor.
Now,
that to the hand, and
he's still okay because he can eat
that food. Eat that food.
Eat that food for 3. Nom, nom, nom. And he's got to attack with Hidetsugu and Kairi, and then Wander Ember could come down again and exile it.
Ian's like, I really want to put this away. I'm kind of afraid of your deck. Let's see what we got.
Ian should be afraid. He had the win and reacted a little too swiftly.
Yeah.
But, of course, picks up a Brazen Borrower, the answer to pretty much every question.
Pretty much every question. It's a great answer. And there comes Hangerback Walker.
Petty Theft.
Petty Theft.
Going back into his graveyard, which is not where adventures go, as we learned last time.
But that's all right.
But it doesn't matter because Dom says, that's good enough for me. Let's go to game 3.
Yep. I'm actually, I wanted to see a game 3. I'm kind of excited to see the game 3.
I do. I like this matchup a lot.
These players are like really strong. They're like doing lots of cool, unique things and like working on their synergies. So Dom has like creature tokens and that kind of cool Sunfall synergy. Ian is playing removal spells and drawing cards.
Well, yeah.
And that's a pretty good synergy.
Sometimes you got to go back to the classics. Blue and black, I want to draw as many cards as possible. I want to kill as many of your creatures as possible. And that is Ian's entire game plan. It worked that time.
It did work that time. I really want to see like a Heated Sugun Kairi brainstorm, put commit to memory on top.
Take 10.
Kill your own Heated Sugun Kairi.
Yeah, take 10. Get out
take
of there.
10. All right, we're done here. That's what I'm really hoping to see. From Dom, I just want to see more creatures that attack. That's pretty cool.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Well, maybe you'll get your wish.
Yeah.
Dom probably wants that too, if we're being honest.
Dom wants Ian to put a force in his deck so that Chatterfang can really get in there.
Yeah, Dom was really eating good in that first round matchup where he was like, man, this Chatterfang was unblockable entirely. That is awfully powerful.
Yeah.
It's good here because Chatterfang's still a very powerful card, but not quite the game changer that it was in the first round against Brandon. But this is going to be an excellent game 3. I actually think this is a really good matchup. This is a classic cube matchup of green-white questions versus blue-black answers.
That's correct. And, Dom, maybe he has the chance to get that Devoted Druid Swift Reconfiguration Infinite Mana combo. That'd be really exciting to see. But he does have Woodland Acolyte in his hand. Maybe Dom's going to be playing a can-tripping creature on turn 2.
He could, because he started with that Noble Hierarch on turn 1 off of the overgrown tomb.
I mean, that's been happening for a while. I get it. But, I really want to see this green-white creature deck put some pressure on Ian. And Ian does not want to see that Noble Hierarch. Ian was able...
You're talking about pressure.
Oh, under pressure. Dom does not want to cast that Woodland Acolyte and instead is going to cast for 1 mana a Gilded Goose.
Yeah.
Go on. So now Dom has access to 5 mana on turn 3.
Woo. Now, did you catch what I just caught?
What?
Ian went to go cycle his Troll of Khazad-dûm.
Khazad-dûm, thank you. You're close.
Khazad-dûm, but he accidentally showed Toxic Deluge out of his hand. Now, I don't know if Dom saw that. I don't know if Dom saw that. Ian might have looked at the symbol on the bottom and said, that's a triangle. I'll play the triangle card.
Universe Beyond, baby.
But,
UB. Ian is playing UB in many ways.
We will see. We'll see if Dom picked up on that. But either way, Dom is going to continue his plan, get his mana right, get it tight, and he's going to get that Temple Garden off of his Wooded Foothills. Still on tap with 5 mana, so a lot to do, even in the face of a Toxic Deluge.
Yep. Dom could cast Sunfall here on turn 3. But instead, he will cast Boromir, which is a much better play than Sunfall, and go looking for a human or artifact here on turn 3.
And he's looking at 6, checking his hand again.
Checking it twice.
Yeah, and Boromir's a 3/4.
Gondor's Hope.
Finding Charming Prince. That is a good combination with Boromir.
Right you are, Justin.
And it looks like we do see the Toxic Deluge. Ian's going to take 4.
That's all right. I'll take 4 life to kill 3 creatures. No problem.
Yeah, I would make that trade if I were Ian.
So Ian was able to survive the early onslaught last game due to the engineered explosives for 2. And Ian's like, you know what? I'll do it myself. I'll pay the life, get down there, and stomp out these 3 creatures. Boromir, he showed up, did some sweet stuff, and then was on his way. True to the story, the Toxic Deluge of arrows was just too much for our wonderful warrior of Gondor.
And Dom really loves this Boromir. He's going to have cast it about 7 times this match.
The story of Boromir, Dom says, you're not done yet, Boromir. Wake up. If Gandalf can get an extra life, so can you.
Wow. And I don't think Dom is ever going to cast that Acolyte without sending it on an adventure. That was never in the plan.
Yeah, not against a blue-black control deck chock full of removal spells.
We need all them cards.
We need those noxious revivals. But I guess they're not quite noxious. They're unnoxious.
They're very healthy and tasty revivals.
Yes.
Yes.
Dom does have a Hallow's Fountain in his deck for the Boromir. So, yeah, that totally makes sense. Why am I even saying it? So here, Dom's going to play this Charming Prince, perhaps to blink this Woodfall.
You know what's better than scrying? It's drawing a card. Is Ian going to say, okay? Ian's going to say, no. I got something for you.
I have a Swift End, yet again. Adventure on adventure crime. Yet again, going to the grave.
The real crime, the real crime is going to the graveyard. Fortunately, not the case, as for the first time, Murder Strider going to go to the Adventure Zone despite being cast a Swift End multiple times. But you know what?
What? Is it rhetorical? Anyway, Dom has 2 2/2s, and one was 1/2/2.
For Mirrodin.
Thank for Mirrodin. So now we have 2/2s. Then normally a blue-black control deck's like, whatever, you have 2 Grizzly Bears. That's fine. But these 2/2s draw cards, yo. So,
They
like,
do.
Ian will have to come up with something to stop these 2/2s. And I believe he has an Ether Channeler, which is a great answer to a Rebel.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't think so, but
Yeah, I
Rebels
was gonna
have
say
one weakness,
you-
and it's bounce.
You wouldn't think so, but it does not like walking on very squishy ground.
Yep. Instead, Ian's like, you know what? I'm going to use all my mana for the turn and cast Imrith Desert Doom. It's done good work for me. I will continue to play it and hope we don't have a Path to Exile with the mana. Dom does not. He's got a
Got a
Boromir.
Boromir, though. You know what? And he's like, you know what? Boromir, pretty good. Looking at 6 cards,
It's a lot of cards.
that's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of cards.
And it looks like Dom has an. Dom did not find anything this time, but never fret. Boromir does never just quit on the job. Once he gets in there and attacks, he's going to keep looking for those humans or artifacts.
Right. And even though technically Rebels don't have a problem with dragons, I think Dom might have a problem with this dragon as it's a 5/5. And if you're able to connect with it, it essentially casts Anticipate, which is look at the top 3 cards of your deck, put 1 into your hand, put the rest on the bottom. We're going to hit this Aether Channeler first. Is that not what that does?
I just draws a card.
Oh, it just draws a card?
I mean,
I'm
it's good
thinking
enough.
of Dragon Lord
Ojutai.
Ojutai, which is a card I love, but that is not this one.
We don't make them like that anymore. Instead, now you just draw 3 cards. So Ian did play that Channeler. That Rebel is gone. And this dragon is really putting the brakes on Dom's plan. But Dom does have the Huntsman's Revenge, and will be making a 3/3 creature token. This card will let Dom look through his deck next turn for any creature in his deck. Like, all of these cards Dom's playing do have card advantage. The Lins, the Boromir, the Acolyte, the Revenge, the Walker, they all let Dom keep churning through his deck.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Ian's doing everything he can to churn through his deck.
And he's really got this token synergy going on, and I think I've spotted the thing Dom's going to sacrifice. It's probably going to be that Hangerback Walker. Is it going to be a 1/1, or maybe it's going to be a 2/2 if Dom chooses to tap it and add a counter to it during his upkeep, which is very possible.
This is very possible indeed. So Ian does have a Brazen Borrower, the eternal answer for every question.
Sure
But,
is.
you know, Ian does have a dragon. Ian does have a wizard. And Ian also has a zombie knight.
That's
So
right.
not the most impressive play in the world, but, like, you know, maybe he gets the job done. And he'll play as Xander's Lounge and pass the turn back to Dom.
Dom, in the face of this dragon, we're going to
Trigger
see
on the stack.
on the stack.
On the stack.
Yep, it's time. I'm going to make this a 2/2. I'm going to sacrifice this. I'm going to get 2 Thopters. Not unexpected. And now Dom gets to go find what he deems the best creature in his deck. And he's already got Boromir. We know he loves that one.
Looking for Noble Hierarch, of course.
He's a big Chatterfang lover. He can't get Sunfall. That's not a creature.
Not yet.
He could get Grist, not in the cube.
Not in the cube. What an insect. So Dom's like, the world's at your oyster, sir. What say thee? Ye say, Hero of Bladehold. This is the card. So in Magic the Gathering, a lot of times creatures enter the battlefield and you want them to do stuff. Here, the Bladehold doesn't do anything when it comes to play, but instead we untap, you attack them. But instead, Ian was like, you know what? I have Elena Danner's first Magic card art in the form of Supreme Will to take out the hero.
Which is appropriate at Elena Danner. Here at CubeCon.
Here at CubeCon.
Yeah.
Here at Gamehole Con.
Yep.
Jewel Lotus artist, wonderful person. And Ian is like, I also have Hiratsugu and Kairi looking for some cards. Baleful Mastery, Dig Through Time,
Ooh, hey.
Engineered Explosives.
Wow.
Is that good? It
Those
has to
were
be
all
good.
good. And I think we put a Dig Through Time on top. Just in case in the
Just in
next
case.
turn cycle that Hidetsugu and Kairi dies. Now, you wanted Commit to Memory. Will
did.
you take 8 for Dig Through Time and be satisfied?
I'll take 8, but I will not be satisfied.
Okay, well, I can't. There's no pleasing you.
Well, Commit to Memory pleases me. That's what that's all I asked. All right, come on.
I feel like that's a big ask.
Well, I'm a big
Dom
guy.
again being quite the gentleman, showing the 2 creatures that got +2/+2 and trample as the Huntsman's Redemption reached the 3rd chapter, and we're going to go looking for 6 again. Now, here's the thing.
That Hiratsugu and Kairi could jump in the way of Boromir.
I think it's probably going to do a little Marvel team-up action with another one of these creatures to attempt to take out one of these things that has trample, jump in the way, cast a Dig Through Time for free, and cost Dom 8 life in the process.
Yep. So I would put the ogre demon dragon in front of the beast, and then the baleful strix could go in front of the Boromir, and I think Ian would still survive through that. But we'll find out.
We will find out.
Ian's
now,
on the ground.
Yeah, Dom has 5 mana untapped. Does not cast anything, and there are going to have to be some blocks. Somewhere along the way, there are going to have to be blocks. And he has not touched his Demon Dragon.
Maybe is this a sell? Is this at the long con? Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
he's a showman.
He didn't want to go right for it, and I think I appreciate. I really appreciate
your hand
that.
too much.
Yeah,
now Dom here. Does he have to kill Hitotsugu and Kairi with this 5 damage? He does not. I don't think, right?
Well, we have a Wandering Emperor, and that's going to give +1/+1 and first strike. So the answer is yes, he's going to.
Yeah, so Hitotsugu and Kairi is a 5/4, and now Dom is trying to figure out, well, Dom has enough power, so he's got to kill these creatures.
It does, and we do see 5 damage come across at Ian from the unblocked token. And the reason I believe Ian obviously did not block the token is he really wants to get that bounce equity with the Brazen Borrower that's been in his hand for quite a while.
Yep, adventures are pretty strong, so I'm excited to see what happens here upon the resolution of the combat. Ian, Hitotsugu, and Kairi go to the graveyard. Baleful restricts us 2. That's fine. It is job. And then we're going to flip Baleful Mastery.
Baleful, he put the Dig Through Time 2 down?
I'm not sure.
Ian, come on, buddy.
I mean, Dom's to 10. That ain't bad.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad.
All right.
I feel bad that I led people astray. I know it's down there. It's the next card down.
It's the next card.
And that maybe that was a potential misstep. And there's the Dig Through Time.
Well, maybe Ian's not out of this yet by a long shot.
No.
Yeah, Ian's got Engineer Explosives for 0 to take care of 3 of your permanents.
Yeah.
Thank you. Pay at the 2. Goodbye, Explosives. What a card.
And the first strike actually hurt Dom more than it helped because it caused that Baleful Master get cast in combat, which exiled
the beast token.
Exiled the other attacker.
Yeah. First strike. Strong. So the Wandering Emperor is down to a dragon, and Ian is going to cast Dig Through Time, the other Konzutar card draw spell, I believe for the full Delve Monty.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Gotta get it all.
You have a UU look at 7.
Oh,
Vincer, Island, Tyrant Scorn, Island, something.
Vincer, and then some other cards. Because I'm taking that Vincer.
Well,
yeah, got it.
The
Snag.
Vincer.
Yeah, there you go, buddy.
The
Take that Vincer. And then we're gonna see another card go to Ian's hand. We're not exactly sure what it was.
Whoop.
But Vincer's the real star of the show here.
Yeah, just waft in those Sultai fumes and see your future of 2 bounce spells in Ian's hand, which is pretty good against the green-white token deck.
And this dragon is going to look to close the game out fast.
To spell the doom to Dom. And right now, Dom has a desert of removal spells in his hand for this dragon, it looks like. Which isn't great. The dragon doesn't have ward. It's wardless.
No, and the shields are down, and Ian says, I must close the game out. He's got to, because while we have interaction and bounce spells, one thing we don't have in Ian's hand is counter spells. So if Dom were to draw that Sunfall, that would be a very clean answer to this dragon that is currently dominating the board for Ian Braverman.
Yeah, I would imagine that case. A Vincer comes down to save the dragon. But petty theft, you cannot steal what you already have. So the Brazen Borrow Adventure could only target Dom's things. So right now, Dom has a Canker Bloom, a Chatterfang, and a Steel Seraph in his hand. Notably, only one of these fly. And it's the one that costs 6. So does Dom go for the 6-mana Steel Seraph?
Yeah.
Or does he deploy multiple threats, hoping to race Ian to death?
Well, he's going to have to figure it out quickly because we are officially in turns. This is turn 0, so Ian Braverman is going to have turn 1 before we go to a draw. Now, it's very possible, and Dom is going to go for the Steel Seraph on 6, and Ian's got the secret card he had was a remand. And that was good enough to give Dom Harvey his very first loss of the entire weekend. Congrats to Ian Braverman. Now, I don't know if we have a backup match, but I'm guessing we don't since we were in turns, so I'm going to just stop talking about that. All right, we are going to come back in just a moment. We are obviously very ready for the next round as that one went directly to time. So For Dave McDarby, for Justin Parnell, don't go anywhere. CubeCon 2023 will be back in just a few minutes.
Please stay.